Hi, my name is Kilian Jornet. I'm 30 years old and I have been training for 30 years. Actually, I started training when I was a kid. My parents were doing a lot of mountaineering activities, a lot of sport, but afterwards I realized that it was a perfect introduction to endurance sports. At that moment it was like playing in the mountains and it was just fun. So I think an inflection point it was when I was 13 years old. I was a very energetic kid, so I needed to focus my energy in something productive. So I entered in the Ski Mountaineering Technification Center in Catalonia to don't do sport only for the fun of the day, but to practice on a certain way to be perfect the day of the goal. I'm 30 years old and I have been training for 30 years. My weeks are 7 days training.
If you don't have pleasure when you train, you will never improve.
All the years before training when I was a kid, it was a good endurance training. I think when we are children, our body is much more plastic, so we can adapt much more to the changes. At that time I was in the high school. Normally I was like going in the morning for a run. Some days I was like going from home to the school, that it was like 23 kilometers running. And then the weekends I was able to go to the snow and do longer runs. When I was a children, I was a lot outside. It was a good endurance training. I'm 30 years old and I have been training for 30 years. Only for the fun of the day, but the perfect the day of the goal. My weeks are 7 days training. 7 days training. I've been training for 30 years. Another thing that is really important, I think, when we start doing sport is to have a medical following, mostly to avoid problems. So actually, when I entered in the Ski Mountaineering Technification Center, we started to do like VO2 max test and echocardiograms every year. 7 days training, a lot outside for 30 years. Where I was good, it was on recovery. I was able to recover very fast from being like at the VO2 max or higher up, like 200 pulsations per minute with a high lactate, and like 1 minute after I was already at 75 pulsations. Hi, I'm 30 years old and I have been training for 30 years. All the years before training when I was a kid, it was a good endurance training. From 13 years old to 17 years old, I was training with my coach and they were saying, you need to do that or to do these intervals and do that. And since I was 17 years old, I started to train by myself. I'm 30 years old and I have been training for 30 years. I started to train by myself to be perfect the day of the goal.
If you don't have pleasure when you train, you will never improve.
My doctor says that it's important to do some resting in the year, and I try to do one easy week in the year to recover a bit the body, but it haven't been working so far for the last years. 1 year we tried to do that with Emily. We were going to an island to try to just be in the beach and resting, and actually it was the second day. It was not me, it was Emily say, you think we can change the ticket planes and go home and start to ski? Because yeah, it didn't work.
3,000 meters elevation. Huh. Not a bad day, yeah?
Mostly training is a lot of trying. and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing, and one time you try and you have a good feeling, so then you keep that. But to do that, it's a lot of times that you fail.
Té molt bona pinta, s'ha de dir.
The last years, actually, I prefer to do long days and to be out a lot of hours, and then like using short races, vertical kilometers, to do more specific training, to do short intervals or like kind of short intervals on that, and using longer races to do other kind of intensity. But yeah, I haven't used much other things than races as a specific training. All the years before training when I was a kid, it was a good endurance training. Training is a lot of trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing. If we take last year as an example, we can see like I has been doing 1,200 hours of training. Normally my weeks are 7 days training. Normally I train in the morning. I do a long training between 2 to 4 or 5 hours and 1.5 hour training in the afternoon, and that's every day during the week. If it's a racing week, normally I do one rest day 2 days before the race, but if not, normally I don't rest any other time during the year.
If you don't have pleasure when you train, you will never improve.
Hi, my name is Kilian Jornet. I'm 30 years old and I have been training for 30 years.